Well, gang, we finally made it. This is the tutorial where we grab our exe commands and it will actually return a currency conversion in our Google chat. Let me show you what's going to happen. So for example, here's our exe/command and we can type in our 10 AUD and convert to USD for today and hit enter. And we're going to get back the conversion rate as $6.28 or 29 cents. And we're also going to display the conversion rate of $1 to US dollars and the conversion rate of $1 back to $1 Australian. Finally, we'll provide a last updated date there so they know when that conversion was made. Of course, it still contains all the error handling that we had previously. So if we went 12 AAA to USD, then it's going to throw us an error. Nice, neat, and tidy. Now, if you haven't noticed already, this is part of a series on building a currency converter chat app using Google Apps Scripts. If you want to go back to the previous tutorial, you can check out the link up above, or if you want to go back to the beginning of this series, check out the link in the descriptions below. There's also a written tutorial connected with this with the link in the description below, and that contains a heap of extra information, including all the code at all the stages that we have gone through during this video series, along with more detailed explanations on some of the trickier parts and links to documentation that will help you out should you want to expand on this project or head off and create your own project. Let's dive into the code. We last left off creating our validation. So we've completed all our validation at the moment, and that's been returning any errors that we might have in our code from either the amount value or the currency codes themselves. We need to make some updates to our attemptConversion function first. So let's go ahead and do that. After we've validated, we want to return back any errors and then stop our processing if there are errors. So let's just make an if statement here. I'll say if type of, and if that type of the conversion result here is equal to a string, then we know it's an error. If you go back to our previous tutorial, you know that we return back strings containing error messages or an object containing the amount, the source code, and the destination code. So then let's return just the conversion, and that will stop our process here. However, if the user's put in everything hunky-dory, then we want to make a currency conversion. So let's go currency conversion, and that's going to take the conversion as an argument, that conversion object. Nice. All right, so let's just grab this for now. And let's just scroll down to the bottom past our data validation and create a new function. And that's going to be currency conversion and conversion. And let's finish making our function. Cool. And the first thing we want to do is just send it away to the API. So we can say const result. That's going to be equal to currency API, currency API function dot convert currency. And as we can see here, our convert currency API function that we created previously takes a source 3-letter code, and that's going to be our conversion dot source, and then our conversion dot destination, and then our conversion dot amount. And then there's also the option for date, which we won't handle at the moment. Cool. So remember also in our currency API, we also handled for some response code errors. So we need to return those if we get a response code error. So we say if type of, again, result is equal to string, then we want to return that result as an error. Return result. Let's make a note here for our future self and say returns response code error message if something happened when connecting with the API. So to refresh our memories, we just need to figure out what this is going to return for us. So let's just go in here and console log our result. And let's head over to our test. Let's just make a new test. We'll say function. And we need to do test. Here we just make a const called conversion, which is going to be an object containing our source, and that's going to be equal to AUD, then our destination, and that's going to be equal to EUR, and our amount, that's going to be equal to $22.50. Cool. And let's just send that over to currencyConversion. So let's just grab this. It's the same. And type in conversion here. We've already got a console log over there. Let's just run. Nope. Conversion. Oh, that's intelligent. All right, let's go back here. Just fix that one up. Click on that. There it is there. Noise, save, back to test, run, and test again. 400 error, invalid conversion amount. What did I do? It's not the time. It's not 10:50 in the evening, Scott, you idiot. It's $22.50. Let's try it one last time. There we go. This is our object that we need here. Success. Our main query here, we've got info for the timestamp. We need the date. Most importantly, I think, is the date and the result. Properties here. So let's just copy that, Control C. Put that in a notepad for reference for later. And head back over to our slash commands. And cool. So we could just return back result.result. And that would just be a single digit value, but it's not very informative. So what I want to do is provide a bit more information here and provide the initial currency amount is equal to, and then the converted amount. So this would be the result.result. And then we want to know what one of the source currency is in the destination currency. And then it's probably also helpful for us to know what one of the destination currency is in the source currency, and then check the date. So we've got all this information here. So we can see the result here. We can see the conversion rate, and we can see the date. So they're probably our most helpful items. So the API that we're using returns back a result up to 6 decimal places. So we don't want to go any more than that when we do our conversion from one destination currency to the source currency. So we need to handle that and make sure it only goes to 6 decimal places. However, you might think that's fairly simple, but it turns out to be a little bit trickier than you first expect. So what we're going to do is just head over to test briefly here and go down. Okay, and let's just call this function, rounding error test. Okay, what are we trying to achieve here? So we want to go 1 destination unit to the source unit. So to do this mathematically, all you need to do is divide 1 by the exchange rate, which we have. However, in many cases, that's going to produce something that's going to have a large string of decimal places. And to keep things neat and tidy, 6 decimal places is more than enough, I think. However, there is a bit of a problem with how JavaScript rounds numbers when we want to round them up. So for example, if I create something like this, for example, const weird num, and we'll say 5.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fives. This makes 7 fives. There we go. And we'll just do a console log here. And on our first one, we're going to say pass float. And we want to pass the weird num. And pass float, a JavaScript function, allows you to pass strings or a number as a float. So we could even put that in there because it will be a string for us. Okay, weird num. If we say to fixed, so that's to a fixed number of decimal places, and we want to say that's 6 decimal places. And let's just go ahead and save that and click on rounding error test and run. What's going to happen? Well, I'm not going to be able to spell properly. So I'm going to copy that, paste it in and run again. Okay, so is this number what you expected? Keeping in mind that there are 5 values here. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's with a extra 5 that we don't need. Now, we learned at school that we were supposed to round up from 5 onwards. So it's not achieving that. However, if I put a 6 in here and hit run, you can see it has been rounded up. And just to make sure I'm not a liar, I'll put 7 in here and run, and it should be 5 sets of 5 and 1 6. So it's rounding up from 6, which is quite strange. So we need a different way of handling this. So we'll keep that one there as our example. You've probably seen a result of a really long string of numbers where it's sort of chopped down into this 5e, for example, 6. And that just makes things easier for us to read and easier for JavaScript to display the large number. So what we can do is convert to the large number. And basically all that is saying is that we have a 5 value that is multiplied by 10 to the power of 6. So, or 5 times 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. Or the ultimate result will be 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what we can use to achieve this. Now, so what can we do? So let's just have a look at that. So let's type in our weird number. Let's just add. We could go E6 like this, or we can just do E plus 6. Now I'm going to do this for a reason. What's this going to achieve? Well, it's going to bump this decimal places 6 positions to basically here. So we've got this big, large number, 6 decimal places across to that point there. From that point, we can use round on it to round up properly from a 5 value. So let's just keep that there and we'll console log, Control S to save and run. So you can see what the result is now. Okay, so our first result is this. So now we've converted it to a string to contain E plus 6. And let's just see how that converts to a number. So let's use the number constructor here, and we'll say weird num. We'll just copy this so you know what's going on. Put that in there, hit save and run. Now you can see the first time we had this, then we had this as a string, and now it's can be converted so that 5 decimal places is over to here. So what can we do with this? So now what we could do is go math.round, and we can go number. We'll just copy and paste in this weird num stuff. Bink, and close that. And let's just see what happens. So now this value has been rounded up to this 6 correctly now with the round. And now we need to convert this back to the correct position it was before. So let's just duplicate that. And all we need to do now is add E minus 6. No, didn't put a comma in. Bad boy. E minus 6, and then close that brackets. And that's going to make out that text string again. But what we can do here, instead of typing in number, we can just make it a positive. That's a cheeky, sneaky way for us to convert this string value with this E minus 6 in it and into the number. So let's hit run now and see what happens. Cool. So now instead of having this erroneous value here, using this to fixed and pass float, we actually can round up this value to 6 correctly. So now we figured that out with our testing, we can actually copy this formula over here and head back over to our slash commands. Let's create a constant here, and this is going to be destination or dest to source src rate. This is our destination to source rate. That's going to be equal to our formula, so Control V. And we don't need weird number here, we need to change that. So it's going to be, remember, To calculate that rate, it's going to be 1 divided by the result. And then let's have a look at our notes here. Result info rate dot info dot rate. Save. I think we've just put this in the wrong spot. So let's just Control X here. Yeah. Let's put this under here, under our error handling. It'd be silly otherwise. All right, that's the only real technical thing we need to worry about here. Let's go const message, and that constant variable is going to be equal to the text that we're going to return here. So let's get started. Let's use some template literal backticks. We loves the backticks. And the first thing we need is our conversion dot amount to display, and then we'll have a space in there. Then we need that code for the conversion amount, so that's conversion again dot source, and that is going to be equal to the result. So that should be result dot result. So let's have a look. Result dot result. So result dot result, and then of what? And then we need the code, right? So conversion dot destination. Cool. Let's leave a space there because that's the most important thing we need displayed. And then in italics, and we're using markup for this, we want to know one of the conversion dot source code. So what's one of the conversion dot source code in destination? And that conversion amount is just going to be this rate here. So result dot info dot rate again. So this one. Let's just copy that. So we made a mistake once, we'll have made it twice. And we want the conversion dot destination again. Cool. And let's put in a little underscore again for our italics for that bit, and another underscore. Now we want one of the conversion dot destination is going to be equal to what we created up here, this one. And then the conversion dot source underscore for italics. And lastly, let's put in a date that we did this for good reference. So italicize again, in brackets, last updated, and then the date, which is, if we have a look back, result dot date. Dot date. Cool. Goodo. So that's the text, and all you need to do now is return the message. Let's hit save. Cross our fingers. We can get rid of this for now. Console log. Let's go deploy, manage deployments. Update. Description is convert currency. And new version, and hit deploy. Hit done. Let's go back to our chat app and into our currency conversion here. Okay, so XE. Start with something easy. 10 AUD to USD. Let's hit enter, cross our fingers. Whew, we did it. Okay, so 10 AUD is $6.28 USD. 1 AUD is 62 cents or 63 cents at the moment. Oh, we've got a little weird thing there. I know what happened there. 1 USD is equal then to $1.59. And then we've got our last updated, but we've just got this here, and I know why. See if you can figure it out. It's because I forgot to put the underscore over here. Let's hit save again and redeploy, frustratingly. Now again, hopefully by the time you see this or in a couple of weeks' time, this should be resolved and we should be able to use the head deployment for testing. But for now, we just have to make a new version and hit deploy. That'll do us. Cool, and donezo. Let's go back, say XE $1,233.55. We're a little bit crazy. We put a space in. We said EUR, put another 2 spaces in, colon, USD, and hit enter. There's our result. That's how much it is in USD. We've got our €1 conversion, our 1 USD conversion, and then our last updated. Everything's running smoothly. Our errors are still there, so let's test for an error. XE AUD to EUR, we should get an error. Yep, no amount detected. It hasn't even gone to the API, so we're not wasting API credits. Do one more error just so we know. Do 12 AUD to ZZZ, because I don't think there's any such thing. Cool, no destination currency was ZZZ. That's it. All right, so we've got the main driving force behind this tutorial done now. The last thing we're going to do is create a list for our users, because I'm sure they don't memorize all the currency conversion codes. So we want to help them out with a list. So when they come in here and they type in xe.list and they hit enter, it's going to pop up with a card that looks a little bit like this. So it's much more attractive than I think what we would have in a normal message. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please hit that like button. And if you want to see more tutorials about Google Apps Scripts and Google Workspace, subscribe and smash that notification bell to get a notification of when the next tutorial in this series comes out. Until next time.